Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book I have in my hands changed my life 15 years ago when I read it for the first time. It opened my eyes regarding different mindsets and attitudes that I needed to embrace to change my financial status. In this video, I want to share with you 4 most important lessons that changed my perspective about money and entrepreneurship that I would have known when I was 20 years old. My name is Max Cecco and I help you become a high-paid infopreneur by sharing my 12-year knowledge and experience helping professionals and small business owners create their personal brand online and sell information products and services. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I suggest you subscribe right now and turn the notification on. If you tap on the like button, you will contribute to spreading my message to people like you, so thank you. First of all, let me tell you that I was in a similar situation as Robert was with his poor dad. I came from an ordinary family, my mom was a housewife and my father was a postman. They didn't have any experience in entrepreneurship and unfortunately they didn't teach me the right things about money. But I don't blame them. Our parents do their best to let us live a fantastic life. Rich Dad, Poor Dad book inspired me to ask myself the right questions. For instance, why are there many rich people? Why do some people have a beautiful house, a beautiful car? It seems they live an extraordinary life. Why can they afford a nice lifestyle? What information do they know that I don't know? What education did they get? And so on. When I started asking myself the right questions, I was able to focus my attention on finding the correct answers. Most of them came by reading this book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is very easy to read since Robert wrote it with elementary words that everyone can understand. His ability to simplify complex topics is astonishing. Allow me to tell you the 4 lessons I learned. Lesson number 1. Difference between assets and liabilities, income and expenses. Robert explains how money flows in these 4 quadrants and how each section has a different meaning based on the person's educational level. Let me give you an example. My parents always taught me that my house would be the best investment of my life. Instead, the house you live in is not an asset but a liability because it takes money from your pockets. Assets and liabilities have different meanings. For instance, a house can be an asset for the owner if he decides to rent the house to get a monthly income. The same house is a liability if you live in this real estate. The book contains lots of examples and highlights the difference in the way of thinking of poor people, middle class and wealthy people. If you don't develop the right way of thinking about money, you will never be rich, period. Robert explains the importance of identifying what a real asset is and why you should focus your attention on buying assets to sustain your lifestyle. Lesson number 2. Work to learn and don't work for money. I love this chapter because it explains the importance of developing skills to increase your personal value and abilities. And to be very honest, this is what I did at the beginning of my career in digital marketing. At the time, my job was driving trains in Italy and thanks to my salary, I invested lots of money in myself, both in learning marketing skills, online courses and events, and personal development. I firmly believe that a company grows only if the entrepreneur grows. But there is another crucial lesson inside this chapter. Be willing to take an unpaid or low-paid position to get that specific experience you are looking for. It is better than a high-paid job if this last one doesn't teach you anything special. I followed this advice too. Indeed, while I was learning digital marketing, I decided to work for free for an Italian entrepreneur with 4 years of experience in the info business. Why did I choose to work for free? Simply because his experience was priceless. Indeed, it taught me a lot. That experience allowed me to create multiple info businesses with different partners in the following years. The key here is working on yourself daily for the rest of your life. Lesson number 3. How to pay less taxes by leveraging the power of a company. Oh my god, I still remember the first time I learned these concepts. I finally understand the rules of taxes and why entrepreneurs have an incredible competitive advantage with the income they produce. Let me give you some basic but fundamental examples. When you have a company, the amount of money you get monthly from the products or services sold is called gross revenue. To establish the amount of money you have to pay taxes, you must deduct all the expenses. And here is the secret. The more expenses you deduct, the fewer taxes you pay. But if you invest money to buy company assets, you practically pay few taxes. The entrepreneur pays the company's taxes after deducting the expenses and investments. For example, if the gross revenue is $1 million and expenses are $300,000, my company has to pay taxes on $700,000. But if I buy assets for $500,000, the company pays taxes only on $200,000. Instead, the employee and a professional, aka the middle class, pay taxes on their income. The employee can invest money or deduct expenses only after paying lots of taxes. There are tons of real examples in the book that allow you to understand how the financial system works and why the law favors only entrepreneurs. Laws has been made for rich people. Lesson number 4. Rich people buy their toys thanks to their assets. Let me explain this concept because it is a game changer. Normally, employees and especially the middle class buy whatever they want with the income of their job. As an employee, you receive a monthly salary already taxed. As a professional, you pay lots of taxes based on how many hours you work. Both of these two categories pay an enormous amount of taxes because all the money they receive is directed to their persona, not a company. With that said, they buy a house, a nice car, a TV, whatever they want, thanks to their salary, just to make things simple to understand. Instead, rich people invest in assets first, and then they use the money earned from these assets to buy whatever they want. They put their money at work to purchase anything. They generate real passive income. It's an entirely different mindset that changes everything. An asset can be stocks, real estate, other businesses, cryptocurrencies, and so on. The key here is that rich people don't work for money. Instead, they put their money at work. With that said, I suggest you read this book. It doesn't matter if you are an employee, a small business owner, or a professional. I met many small entrepreneurs and middle-class people who are not aware of these concepts and they constantly put their hard-earned money into the bin due to bad choices. In addition, I urge you to read this book, especially if you want to start a business from scratch, no matter the type of business. You absolutely need to understand how the money flows. And let me give you another suggestion. All the people in the world are fascinated by the famous passive income, but most of them don't know the truth behind passive income. Please, I highly recommend watching this video, Passive Income Business Ideas 2022 You Are Not Expecting. In this video, I shared 6 real and valid passive income ideas, and the last 2 are valuable even for beginners. So, watch it now.